Good evening, everyone, and thank you for tuning in to a special Thursday episode of Bright Spots. I am so glad that you are here. It has been a beautiful day in the Ohio Valley, not nearly as nice as yesterday. Yesterday, I think we got up to 60. Today, it looked like we were in the 40s, and that's okay. It means spring is right around the corner, right? I can't wait for spring. I love spring. Yesterday's guest on her website, she shared something that really struck me. And it is the five senses, and what are your five senses? What are the things that really get your juices going? And I wrote down, because she said you want to look at the 5 things you love to see, the 4 things you love to feel, the 3 things you love to hear, the 2 things you love to smell, and the 1 thing you love to taste. So I'd just like you to think about that for a minute. Think about your senses and those items and make a list. Write down those things for yourself. I know I'm going to. I'm going to give it some real thoughtful consideration, and I'm going to write down those things that fit into those categories. She said that it's a way to ground us, to really center ourselves, and I can see how that could be quite powerful. So thank you very much to Linda for sharing that with us, that wonderful knowledge on the show yesterday. So tonight we have a very special guest, and all the way from Colorado, we have Kim Riley, who is a midlife transition coach, and she's going to share some wisdom with us tonight as well. But before I bring Kim on, let me tell you just a little bit about Kim Riley. So, Kim Riley, as I mentioned, is a midlife transition coach. She's passionate about empowering women in their midlife years, 40s to 60s, who are stuck in overwhelm, stress, or confusion to discover their heart's desire, speak their truth and purpose, and have greater impact in their lives, and to do so without apology or excuses. Her key in helping women do this is to bring out the playful, fully expressed girl inside. Wigs, props, imagination, and all. For over 30 years, Kim worked in the field of public health education, where she gained invaluable lessons working with disadvantaged and culturally diverse communities. She has an insatiable curiosity about people and other cultures, and has traveled to over 48 countries and has lived in 2. She is an outdoor enthusiast who is blessed and grateful to have grown up and continues to live in her home state of Colorado in the good old USA. She resides in Denver with her husband of 31 plus years and has 2 grown daughters. And I'm extremely jealous of Kim because she just came back from a lovely vacation in Hawaii. So please give a warm welcome to Kim Riley in the studio. Hi, Kim.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you just fine. It is great to have you here today.
Yeah, it's great to be here, and I just have to say I'm so sorry, Lori, for not coming on quite the right time. I thought, I have my calendar a little backwards today, but I'm here.
So no, you were right on time. It's okay. That time difference would get to me, but you were perfectly on time. Not a problem at all.
Okay, good.
So Kim, share a little bit about yourself with us that I haven't already shared, but you do a lot with women, and you're kind of reinventing yourself now through your Facebook page. So share a little bit of that with our audience.
Yeah, okay. Well, let me just first say that, as you've already described, I do work with midlife women, and really, honestly, in the last only 10 days, I'm now working a lot more with men. I was never sure I would work with men, but I'm doing that too now. So I'm expanding as we speak. But my story is I grew up here in Denver. I live in Colorado. Grew up here. I was always a really shy, very quiet, not uncommon, right? A lot of us have that kind of, well, not everyone, I guess, but I certainly did growing up. And I just didn't feel comfortable expressing myself. And so I did what you're supposed to do. I went to school, I went to college, I went to graduate school in public health, and I worked in health education for a long time, which is where I have my exposure to working with people across cultures and communities. But I got to this point where I was like, oh, I wasn't so satisfied with the work I was doing. And so I decided 3 years ago, okay, changing careers. Changed because I'm still working in the psychology, behavior change field. But at age 50, whatever that was, I decided I want something else. So anyway, I went into life coaching, and now I work with women, and now most recently men too. But because I wanted to work with women who are going through something of transition themselves. I'm going through this in my early 50s. Other women are too. So I just wanted to share that and thought, yeah, this is who I want to work with. So it really is about, the bulk of my work is about helping women really discover their strengths, enhance them, really to find their heart's desire, to live into that, to live into a new passion, new purpose. A lot of us are retiring at this age, or maybe not. Maybe we've been working for 30 years and we're waiting to retire, or we don't like the work we're in, whatever it is, right? There's a whole range of stuff related to work, but it's also in our families, things are changing. We may be caretakers now, as I have been for my elderly mom over the last year. Now and again, now she's great and not requiring a lot of care. But anyway, there's that transition. There's transition in relationship. Right? I've been very lucky and blessed to be with the same man for 32 years now. And it's a wonderful thing. We have a good relationship. It's become much more enhanced just recently, since I started doing my life coaching work, actually, I would say. But relationships too, they're changing. We're finding our highest divorce rates are among women in their 50s. Or we're not divorced and we are with somebody, we're thinking, how much do we have in common anyway? I don't know. Anyway, that's it. There's just so much different transitions that we are going through at this time, 40s, 50s, 60s. That's what I want to do. Just want to work with women along that path.
Sure. So I'm guessing 3 years ago when you went into it, you were doing face-to-face coaching, one-on-one, maybe group coaching. How did things change when the pandemic came? Were you able to transition to a virtual format, or how have you dealt with that transition?
Yeah, the pandemic, it's getting a little old.
Yes.
It's funny because a lot of all of the one-on-one work I've done virtually anyway. I was already doing it online. So I've worked with women from across the country, the East Coast and the South. And even here in Denver, a woman I had, we were virtual because it was easiest for her. She was a nurse, her schedule's a little bit crazy. And so that we've always been doing this. So that my one-on-one work's not changed. The pandemic didn't change that for me. What did change, although has been adaptable and it's taken some adaptation for sure, is the work I do in feminine presence. So the art of feminine presence is something I'm certified to teach. And that is working with women to bring out their feminine, to bring out their energetic presence, to really enhance it, to love it. Women are, it's hard to be in our feminine. It's not necessarily safe. Maybe we've been traumatized. We've had experiences where we think our femininity has hurt us. Anyway, that's a whole nother story in itself. But I was teaching those classes live in person in the basement room of my house, actually, because it's a small group of women who come together, and that was great. But halfway through the class was March last year, the pandemic hit, and we moved it online. So it has been online since. And at first I thought, I don't know how this energy discussion is going to work and transfer online, through a screen. But it surprisingly does. And no, it's not exactly like in person. I do love that. But it's surprising how well it works online like this. And because so many of us are online now, a lot of this presence work helps them themselves be online more comfortably, be able to have their energy share out to their audience through their screen.
Right.
So it's actually been a good transition in that way, but my one's been the same.
Okay, so you brought it up. So describe what the art of feminine presence is for those who may be listening, who have never heard that term before. Describe for us what that is.
I will do my best to describe it. What I do when I teach it, just as a little caveat to start here, is I always teach a free introduction session to give women who may be interested in it an experience of it first, because it's not easy to explain. So I'm just going to say that to begin with, and now I'll try my best to explain. So there's two parts of this work. There are 44 different practices I teach. There are two parts to it. They get at our presence. So the best way to describe that, without having you all experience it now, is to say that it's that feeling when somebody walks into a room and you just get this sense about them. They walk into the room and you're either really drawn to them. Somebody will walk in and you go, wow, this person has something to say and I'm going to listen. They're magnetic, right? That's presence. Other people walk into the room and you barely notice them. That is not so much presence. So that's what presence means. And then the second part of it is essence. So that's just our natural, where we feel most comfortable in our bodies. So most men feel more comfortable in their masculine essence. Most women feel more comfortable in their feminine essence. It's not across the board that way, but there is our natural essence. So the practices I teach really bring both of those out. So it's that presence. How can we be more magnetic? How can we grab people's attention and keep it? And then the essence part, how can we, while we are being more magnetic, hopefully, and attracting more of that attention that we want, not attention we don't want, which is what happens with a lot of women, attracting attention, relationships we don't want. But the presence and then our feminine essence, when we really bring that out more, and I have different body-centered practices where we really hold our bodies in such a way that our feminine essence can come out more, then we feel better, we feel stronger, we have more energy, we are more lit up, we are more excited to be talking about what we're talking about, we are less, our energy is, we don't get as tired as easily. I mean, women really in the work world, this has been for a long time, right? But we get into this feeling that, or this thought that what we need to do is be masculine, because we got to show up in the world, we got to show our worth, and we've got to be more masculine, and we've got to run the show, we got to plan, and we got to do all this. And we do have to do all those things. I mean, if we're leaders in our communities or leaders in our families, right? It doesn't have to be in our jobs, but leaders in our families, we can be the doer and the planner and all of that. But when we can do that from coming from a more feminine essence that feels more natural to us than a masculine essence that we're trying to be, we just feel better. We have more energy and we're much more effective. So I'm working with a woman a CEO of a new company that I'm a part of now on this. We're doing this one-on-one, and she's loving what this is so far, because it's really helping her bring out her feminine essence and be the strong leader leading from that place rather than this more masculine kind of energy she was coming from before. So anyway, there we go for the explanation, but I really love to give women the experience of it. So in the moment, they can see a difference when they're being more in their masculine essence versus more in their feminine essence, or being present or not present.
So Kim, What brought you to this? I mean, I understand that you quit your job and you wanted to do something different, but why this? What was the motivator behind helping women get in touch with their feminine or their masculine side?
Yeah, that's a very simple answer for me. At least part of it is. 2 years ago, I decided to add this feminine presence and essence work to the coaching work I do because I wanted it myself. I knew that there was a missing piece for me. I'm intellectually on top of it. I'm smart enough, been to school, graduate school, and all this, have a lot of knowledge, went through coach certification programs, have knowledge, information. But I had the sense that something was missing, and I wasn't in my own feminine essence, really. I mean, that's a whole nother story, but I've been tall my whole life. I mean, nobody can see that now, but I'm 6 feet tall. In 7th grade, I was 6 feet tall as a girl, awkward as anything, taller than all my teachers, my male teachers, right? So I just have never felt, not like I came out to try to be masculine, but I've never felt very feminine. I've always felt much taller than people. I wasn't a more petite woman. And so I knew that there's something I'm missing here. I really craved that. I really wanted to learn more about feminine, really become more comfortable with my own femininity and be in my body more. That's another thing. I mean, I'm a very physically active person. I've lived in Colorado most of my life. I'm a skier, I mountain bike, I hike, I play tennis. I'm a competitive tennis player. So I'm involved. I'm very athletic in a lot of sports activity I do. So I use my physical body, but not like this. It's not this coming centered into this presence in a way that helps me feel calm, more relaxed, more able to quiet my head and really come into, just that calm and clarity. So I knew something was missing. So that's why I started it myself. And I love this. Women love this work. I mean, yes, I'm biased, of course, because I teach it, but I just think we need this. I think we crave it. So, yeah.
So you talk a little bit about the art of play, and the joy that comes from being silly. Is that part of what you teach as finding our feminine presence?
Well, that's a really interesting question because I do have it on my Facebook page. I have myself in different wigs, different hairstyles. So yes, play is definitely a part of it. And the way I look is, for me, part of that playing with different ways to look. So play absolutely is. But it's an interesting question because that's something I've craved, like to not be so serious, all the time. But as I'm teaching this feminine presence and essence work more, I'm realizing I don't really have to use a lot of props. I don't have to wear the wigs. Women don't have to wear wigs, right? We don't have to use all these different props. It's kind of fun, but certainly not a requirement of it. But it's absolutely some play. And I think part of the whole feminine essence and bringing that out, which is flow and kind of circular and movement, hip movement, body movement, the play aspect to it. So moving our bodies in new and different ways is part of it. So that's how play is coming into it.
So I did snag a couple of pictures from your Facebook page to share. So we have this one.
Yeah.
That looks like fun.
Yeah, that's my Tina Turner wig.
I love it. That's awesome. And then this is kind of a hodgepodge of your different looks, and of course the real you there in the middle. Or is that the real you? Right? So so you have
one of my wigs. This is my favorite one.
Is that your favorite? It looks beautiful. It's very natural. So I have a friend that has worn wigs since she was in her early 30s. She's a performer, a singer, and we never know what she's gonna, which wig. She has beautiful wigs, always different. And I've never seen her with her real hair. She's always wearing a wig, all different lengths and colors and styles. And I mean, and it goes with her personality so well. It really does. So I think she certainly is in that feminine presence. Not that just wigs do it, but I know you do know people. I agree with you. When you meet people, they've got it. They've got that something special, that spark or something that does make them very magnetic. So you have a special class coming up, a course coming up. Tell us a little bit about the course that you're teaching in March.
So I have an Art of Feminine Presence class. And as I'm starting to work with men, now I'm thinking I'll do one with men as well. But I have an Art of Feminine Presence class coming up that is a 5-week series. So it's once a week for 5 weeks, and we meet 2 hours each meeting. It's a 5-week class. What the best is if women are interested in continuing beyond the 5 weeks, like for another 5-week session, another 5-week session, because it's something to deepen and grow as we practice and keep with it. And part of, it's not just individually keeping with it ourselves in our practice of this at home, but it is being in community with other women. It's a really critical part of this, and it's a wonderful part of this. So the support that brings, and the support that it brings, being in community, is something that a lot of women want to carry beyond just the 5 weeks. So, but the class itself, it's in series of 5 weeks, because that's what works more into people's schedules. I've also taught, and I'll probably be doing that in March too. I'm devising that now, but like a 3-hour workshop. That's a one-off workshop, because even the 5 weeks may be a little bit more challenging for some people to be able to do. So you can do something in 3 hours, and absolutely. I've done something, I've taught a couple practices in 10 minutes. So 3 hours is a good amount of time. But anyway, that's what's coming up as a 5-week series.
And when does that series start, Kim?
Well, to be honest with you, it was going to be starting at the beginning of the month. I think, though, just to be able to bring in, to get the word out to more women, I'm probably going to be starting it the 3rd week in March. I usually do it on an evening time. Well, evening for me, which is a challenge because there's people that are from different time zones around the country. But probably on a Thursday evening or a Wednesday or Thursday evening, mid-March. So I don't have that calendar right up in front of me. I haven't, like I said, decided on the exact date yet, but I think I'm going to be starting that and just looking now. Yeah, so that 3rd week in March, so probably the 17th or the 18th.
Okay.
What I'll encourage women to do, if you're listening to this now live going, wait, I want some more detail. What I'd encourage you to do is reach out to me. Connect with me on my Facebook page if you want to do that, Kim M. Riley, and send me a message. I can definitely keep you in the loop. You can give me an email address, and I can send you the exact dates and the start date and times. So, but probably evening my time, 4 to 6 p.m. Mountain Time.
Okay. And for those of you that follow Bright Spots, I will put a link to Kim's Facebook page on her profile on the Bright Spots webpage at brightspotsov.com. So you can go there and connect directly with Kim from there. And Kim, it has been a delight to have you here in the studio. Is there anything we missed that you wanted to share with our audience?
Anything I missed? I don't think so. I felt like I've been speaking a lot.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, I guess, the last kind of words of, parting words to leave everyone with is just to ask yourself in your life, if you spend a lot of time worrying and concerned and what am I doing next and where's it going from here? And we spend so much time up here, up and out there. And I would just encourage you to do what you can to get out of your body, out of your head, into your body. Just come down, down, down sense your world, observe your environment from somewhere other than your head, like coming down into your body. Just that in itself, it helps ground you, helps keep that, I don't know, all that mind worrying down. So, and that's kind of what I leave people with. That's what this presence work is all about. I love it. It's very relaxing. It's really calming. And that's where it starts, getting out of our head and into our bodies in presence.
Well, you have a very calming aura about you. You're both times that I have spoken with you, you've been very, very calm and level-headed and even-keeled, and that's great. And I'm glad that you had a wonderful vacation and you were able to relax and enjoy your family. I wish you the very best, and if I can support you in any way moving forward, please do not hesitate to reach out.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lori. Thank you for having me on the show.
Thank you for joining us, Kim.
All right. Goodbye.
Well, folks, that finishes another episode, a special Thursday episode of Bright Spots. I thank you so much for tuning in this evening. And if you're tuning in later, please be sure and leave us a comment or a note below. Let us know if you liked the show. And if you want to connect with Kim, please go to brightspotsov.com and click on previous guests and then click on Kim's bio, and you'll find a direct link to her Facebook page so that you can connect directly with Kim and know exactly when she's going to be having her next class. Thank you so much again for tuning in. We will have another episode next Wednesday night. Hope to see you then.